All right, let's just jump right into this. What if the book of Revelation isn't just some dusty, ancient text about a far-off doomsday, but a symbolic map for the world we are living in right now? In this explainer, we're digging into a theological text that argues exactly that. It reads ancient prophecy as a guide to understanding our media, our culture, and yeah, even the very fabric of our digital lives.
Everything really hinges on this one single dramatic command from Revelation. Come out of her, my people. So the question is, who is her, and what on earth does it mean to come out? This is the central call to action, the big imperative that shapes this entire way of seeing the world.
So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at what that call to Exodus really means. Then we'll talk about the figures of resistance. After that, we'll get into the weeds of decoding the symbolic rap itself. And finally, we'll see how this map supposedly unveils the present.
Okay, so let's start with that command to come out. According to the source material, this isn't about packing your bags and moving to the wilderness. It's a much deeper concept, one the text calls culture cancel.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. The distinction being made here is crucial. What we think of as ordinary cancel culture, right? It's about targeting a specific person, a villain, and getting them off the stage. But culture cancel, well, that's not about just changing the cast. It's about deciding the play itself is corrupt and walking out of the theater entirely. It's about withdrawing your consent from the whole performance.
So back to that question, who is her? Revelation calls her Babylon. But forget any idea of a physical city on a map. No. In this reading, Babylon is a system. It's this all-encompassing atmosphere of media, money, and status that works to blur all the important lines. The line between truth and spectacle, between what's real and what's just for show.
Okay, so if Babylon is this massive, immersive system, who are the people that actually manage to come out of it? The text suggests they form what it calls a counter-public, a group of people who represent a totally different way of being in the world.
And this isn't just one type of person either. This counter-public is made up of 4 key roles. You have the witness, the saint, the watchman, and then just the very idea of an embodied community. Each one, in its own way, pushes back against the logic of Babylon.
And this right here, this is such a powerful contrast. See, the system of Babylon wants to turn all of us into spectators. We're trained to just passively watch whatever it decides is important, whatever it makes salient. But the witness, they do the opposite. They don't just consume a scene, they bear testimony from a real, lived experience. Their whole orientation is toward truth, not just what's trending.
And then you have the saint. You know, in a culture that is absolutely obsessed with going viral, with speed, with making the biggest splash, the saint's power is something else entirely. It's endurance. It's quiet fidelity. They don't win by yelling the loudest. They resist through patient loyalty. And the source makes this amazing point. In a world of constant acceleration, just faithfully holding your ground becomes a kind of spiritual warfare.
All right, now we get to the real heart of this whole interpretation, how this ancient map is actually constructed. We're going to look at these biblical symbols and see how they get matched up with some very specific, very modern things you'll definitely recognize.
The text traces this incredible evolution through the beasts from the book of Daniel. First, you have the lion. Think of that as the old guard, centralized, top-down broadcast media, like network TV. Then comes the leopard, which symbolizes the chaotic, decentralized, viral world of memes and social media. And that final, fourth beast, the really scary one? Well, that's interpreted as the moment it all converges into one synthetic system, the entire tech stack run by generative AI.
And the map gets even more detailed, almost shockingly so. The prostitute of Babylon is seen as the seductive, glamorous world of influencer culture and showbiz. The image of the beast that's made to speak, well, what are deepfakes and animated avatars? The little horn, that's interpreted as the AI companion bot, that personal, intimate voice for a vast, inhuman machine. And the mark of the beast, a machine-readable ID you need to buy and sell. I mean, all of a sudden, these ancient symbols, they don't feel ancient at all, do they? It's like reading a catalog of our daily digital world.
So the big question is, how does this symbolic map actually apply to the world we see around us? The source text doesn't shy away from this. It zooms in on 2 major public figures to argue that this ancient script is playing out right before our eyes. First up, Donald Trump. The analysis here is that he perfectly embodies the logic of Babylon. He's a leader whose entire power was forged in the world of reality TV, of spectacle, of branding, of outrage. He speaks the native language of the system.
And then there's Jeffrey Epstein. The text argues that the Epstein affair wasn't just another horrible scandal. It was like a window opened into Babylon's hidden machinery. It showed the dirty, transactional commerce of sex and power and influence that runs underneath the glamorous surface of elite society. So you have one figure who lives in the spectacle and another who reveals the corruption it's built on.
So this leads to the absolute critical point, the ultimate crisis. The main event on this map isn't just about corrupt people. The key apocalyptic event is the handover. It's the transition from the world of human-run showbiz, that's Babylon, to the colder, more totalizing world of the beast, a synthetic reality governed by machines and AI. And that brings us right back to where we started. The answer this text offers isn't some new political program. It's not a 5-point plan. It's a call to come out. It's a departure from the whole way of life, the whole system of spectacle and synthetic relationships that makes the rise of the beast feel normal, even natural. It's a call to recover a real, embodied, unsimulated life.
Which really just leaves us with this one big question to think about. Whether you buy the theology or not, what happens when you start to see our world of AI, influencers, and nonstop spectacle not as something totally new, but as the latest chapter in a very, very old story? What does an ancient map like this actually reveal?